How to end a friendship, necessary boundaries, and ethical exit strategies. We know how to break up a relationship, but we rarely talk about the difficult, necessary task of ending a friendship. We let toxic, draining, or merely stagnant friendships linger for years out of guilt, history, or inertia. Toxic friendships are an emotional debt. Following video 25. They consume your energy, undermine your confidence, and violate your boundaries. Ending a friendship is not a failure of character. It is a necessary act of self-loyalty and boundary setting. It is the maturity required to admit that two people no longer serve each other's growth. The stagnation of utility. Friendships often need to end when they reach the stagnation of utility, when the relationship is based entirely on shared history and zero shared future or mutual support. 3 clear signals that a friendship has passed its utility. The energy drain. You feel profoundly exhausted after spending time with them. The stagnation barrier. They actively mock or discourage your attempts at personal growth. The reciprocity crisis. You are doing all the emotional labor or initiating all the contact. The goal is to move the relationship from a draining obligation to a respectful farewell. The ethical exit strategy. When ending a friendship, you have 2 ethical options: the gradual fade or the direct conversation. The gradual fade, best for relationships based purely on inertia or those lacking deep conflict. You simply stop initiating contact, let replies become slower, and decline invitations with gracious honesty. The direct conversation, necessary for toxic or boundary-violating friendships. Use a firm, non-apologetic I statement. Example: I need to focus on my well-being right now, and I need space. I wish you well. Do not debate or justify the decision. Your priority is boundary integrity, not managing the other person's reaction. 2 case studies. Choosing self-loyalty. Let's look at 2 individuals who successfully navigated a necessary friendship ending.
Case study 1, the draining mentor. A young professional had a longtime friend who constantly relied on her for emotional support, but never reciprocated. The friend was an energy drain. The professional implemented the gradual fade, simply stopping all initiation and letting the friendship naturally dissolve over 6 months. She successfully reclaimed 20% of her available emotional energy. Case study 2, the growth saboteur. A woman started a new business, and her close friend constantly criticized her ambition, the stagnation barrier. She chose the direct conversation, calmly stating that their new life paths were no longer compatible and that she needed to protect her energy. The directness was painful, but allowed her to move forward without guilt.
The takeaway and action plan. Your well-being is worth the temporary discomfort. Choose self-loyalty. Here's your 3-step plan for an ethical exit. 1. Define your why. Clearly articulate to yourself and only yourself why this friendship must end. Energy, stagnation, reciprocity. This is your internal shield against guilt. 2. Choose your strategy. Decide whether a gradual fade or a direct conversation is necessary, based on the severity of the toxicity. 3. Implement the non-debate rule. If a conversation is necessary, state your need for space once, firmly, and refuse to engage in any justification or argument about the decision. End the draining cycle. Protect your boundaries. Friendships are meant to be fuel for your journey, not an emotional debt. If you recognize the energy drain, the stagnation barrier, or the reciprocity crisis, remember this: ending a friendship is not a failure of character. It is a necessary act of self-loyalty. Your emotional energy is finite, and true resilience demands that you protect it. Your immediate action step is to define your why. Clearly articulate to yourself the reason for the necessary boundary. This is your internal shield against the guilt of inaction. If you're ready to choose self-loyalty over inertia, hit the like button, subscribe for strategies that build your mental strength, and click the notification bell to join a community dedicated to clear boundaries and sustainable growth. Protect your energy, end the draining cycle,